Okay, so we have some good news today. A Texas judge grants a pregnant woman permission to get an abortion despite the state's ban. So that didn't take long, which was good. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some bad news mixed in here somewhere. But let's get to the article. A Texas judge on Thursday gave a pregnant woman whose fetus has a fetal diagnosis permission to get an abortion in an unprecedented challenge over bans that more than a dozen states have enacted since Roe v. Wade was overturned. The lawsuit by Kate Cox, a 31-year-old mother of two from the Dallas area, is believed to be the first time since the landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision last year that a woman has a I have no idea what that is supposed to say. The lawsuit by Kate Cox, a 31-year-old mother of two from the Dallas area, is believed to be the first time since the landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision last year that a woman has asked a court to approve an abortion. Okay, my eyes just skipped a line. Okay. The order only applies to Cox, and her attorneys afterwards spoke cautiously about any wider impacts, calling it unfeasible that scores of other women seeking abortions would also now turn to the courts. This can't be the new normal, says Mark Heron, an attorney for the Center for Reproductive Rights. I don't think you can expect to see now hundreds of cases being filed on behalf of patients. It's just not realistic. State District Judge Maya Guerra Gamble, an elected Democrat, granted a temporary restraining order allowing Cox to have an abortion under what are narrow exceptions to Texas's ban. Her attorney said they would not disclose what Cox was planning to do next, citing safety concerns. Well, that makes sense. I mean, this is a state where they allow vigilantes to stop women, to sue women who have an abortion. So, yeah, I can see that. Republican Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, whose office argued that Cox does not meet the criteria for a medical exception. What the fuck is the criteria if this isn't it? Issued a statement that did not say whether the state would appeal. I heard that they would. But in a letter to the 3 Houston hospitals, Paxton warned that legal consequences were still possible if Cox's physician provided the abortion. Yeah. Because, the days of actually listening to judges, or I don't know, listening to physicians, because this is their area of expertise. Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that. No, we want women to suffer. Cox, who is 20 weeks pregnant, attended the hearing via Zoom along with her husband, but did not address the court. Doctors had told Cox that if the baby's heartbeat were to stop, inducing labor would carry a risk of a uterine rupture because of her prior cesarean sections, and that another C-section at full term would endanger her ability to carry another child. The idea that Miss Cox wants so desperately to be a parent and this law may have her lose that ability is shocking and would be a genuine miscarriage of justice, Gamble said. The Center for Reproductive Rights, which is representing Cox, has said this lawsuit is believed to be the first of its kind since Roe v. Wade was overturned. Since that landmark ruling, Texas and 12 other states rushed to ban abortion at nearly all stages of pregnancy. Opponents have sought to weaken those bans, including an ongoing Texas challenge over whether the state's law is too restrictive for women with pregnancy complications. I'm going to say yes. Actually, any law would be too restrictive because they shouldn't be telling women what health care they need. They just shouldn't. They don't know their situation. They're not doctors. They should not be practicing medicine. I do not want to continue the pain and suffering that has plagued this pregnancy or continue to put my body or my mental health through the risks of continuing this pregnancy, Cox wrote in an editorial published by the Dallas Morning News. I do not want my baby to arrive in this world only to watch her suffer. You know, that's the other crappy thing about this whole situation. Women should not have to justify their reasons for why they need an abortion. If they need an abortion, they need an abortion. You should not have to decide for them what is considered a legitimate reason. But then again, they're trying to stop this, which I don't know how much more legitimate of a reason you can get. So, yesterday I questioned that maybe, just maybe, he's just, because Texas has that restrictive ban, so maybe, just maybe, he's following the law. But no, I think he's a misogynist. Anyway, the temporary restraining order stops Texas from enforcing the state's ban on Cox and lasts for 14 days. Under the restrictions in Texas, doctors who provide abortions could face criminal charges that carry a punishment of up to life in prison. They could also be fined. Pregnant women cannot be criminally charged for having an abortion in Texas. But she put a restraining order on that. So how the holy hell could these doctors be in legal jeopardy when the judge said, no, I'm putting a restraining order? Oh my God. Paxton told the Houston hospitals the order will not insulate you from civil and criminal liabilities, arguing that private citizens could still bring lawsuits and local prosecutors could still bring charges. What a lovely human being you are. I mean, Jesus Christ. Seth Chandler, a law professor at the University of Houston, said he would have concerns as a physician based on both legal issues and Paxton's apparent zeal to enforce the state's abortion ban. Ugh, he's a bit too gleeful about his zeal, Jesus Christ. If I were one of the doctors involved here, I would not sleep easy performing that abortion, he said. Although Texas allows exceptions under the ban, doctors and women have argued that the requirements are so vaguely worded that physicians still won't risk providing abortions lest they end up facing criminal charges or lawsuits. State officials have asked Gamble to deny the request, arguing that Cox has not shown her life is in imminent danger and that she is therefore unable to qualify for an exception to the ban. I'm sorry, were you not paying attention? At all? I mean, what is wrong with you? And are you seriously claiming that it's just the life of the mother? There's no exception for the fetus? You're literally saying that you see nothing wrong with her giving birth to a baby that at best will live for a week. The baby will suffer, the mother, or both parents will suffer watching the baby suffer. What kind of monsters are you? The decision was handed down just 2 days after Cox filed the lawsuit. Cox learned she was pregnant for a third time in August and was told weeks later that her baby was at high risk for a condition known as trisomy 18, which has a very high likelihood of miscarriage or stillbirth and low survival rates, according to the lawsuit. The termination of pregnancies because of fetal anomalies or other often fatal medical problems is seldom discussed in national debates over abortion. Of course not. There are no recent statistics on the frequency of terminations for fetal anomalies in the U.S., but experts say it's a small percentage of total procedures. I don't care. Of course, it's seldom discussed because the pro-life side, the forced birther side, don't want to talk about those things because in their mind, the women who want to have abortions are just harlots who, just go about having casual sex and use this as birth control. That is the narrative they're pushing. And to talk about medical complications, like in this case, that would complicate things. That would make shades of gray and make people realize that, we're not doctors, so maybe we should have no say in this and treat this as medical care as opposed to what they want to treat it as punishment for women for having sex. Because as we all know, women shouldn't be having sex. Because in this case, she's a married woman, she's a mother of 2, and she needs to have an abortion. She's not some harlot that you put in your mind that that's the only type of women who get an abortion. The lawsuit was filed a week after the Texas Supreme Court heard arguments about whether the ban is too restrictive for women with pregnancy complications, which it is. That case is among the biggest ongoing challenges to abortion bans in the U.S., although a ruling from the all-Republican court may not come for months. It's all Republican, huh? Well, I guess it depends on which Republicans appointed them to the court. Because I know that a lot of Republicans, especially women, are pro-choice. Because they're not morons. They're not heartless monsters. They actually understand that sometimes abortions have to happen. All right. So that is all I have for that. I also saw a quote saying that that the Attorney General wanted an evidentiary committee to look into the evidence because they didn't feel like she provided enough evidence. I'm not sure exactly how much evidence she needs to provide here. I mean, some people might say it wouldn't be a big loss if she became infertile because 2 kids is enough. Not your decision to make. Not at all. If she wants to have 1,000,000 kids, probably not the smartest move, but that's her right. So if she can provide for them, I see no problem. However, it is not anybody else's decision when she gets pregnant, how many kids she has, and most importantly, if she's going to terminate her pregnancy because she has to. She should not have to justify this to the court. Not one bit. Because then you get shit like this happening where the Attorney General's like, I don't know, she didn't really give evidence, which implies that they don't care about babies when they are born. If he doesn't seem to have a problem, and Texas law didn't think to protect babies who could, die within days because they're incompatible with life. They have a genetic abnormality that makes them incompatible with life. So either that was an oversight on their part, which of course it would because they're not fucking doctors. They're not supposed to think of all these situations because they shouldn't be in this business to begin with. Or they are just showing that they want maximum cruelty for women And once the baby is born, they don't really give a shit if the baby suffers and dies within a few days because, again, cruelty is the point. They hate women and they want them to suffer. And if babies suffer too, oh well. That's just making us more gleeful about the woman is suffering. God, people are so horrid. No wonder I generally hate people. Because they generally suck. And this is proof. Anyway, that's all I have for that article. So, with that, I will see you guys in the next video.